years old. And she raised us all and nurtured us all, groomed us, and she was just a girl herself, just a young girl. She had a heavy load. Later, when my older sister and my father were ill, she took care of all of them. With such grace, I mean, she just did it. She was just so strong. And then she married Don, and he was immediately ill, and she took care of him and during his illness until his death. Lately, she's been delivering food to her friends who have been housebound and taking people to doctor's appointments, taking people grocery shopping. She loved doing all these things. This is just who she was. She loved taking care of people. So she was of service to her mankind, and she was involved with her community. And she is an American success story. And I'm so proud of my mother. I want to reiterate what was said earlier. I did speak to Wayne, who was assigned to this tragic accident. He said more and more people are under the false impression that their car is turned off and it's still running. These keyless ignitions with the push button start. You can think you pushed it, the car keeps running. For whatever reason, maybe you thought you were going to go back to the car for something. It doesn't matter. Death should not be the ultimate thing. I get so mad. My coffee pot turns off. Everything turns off. Why didn't the car turn off? Once inside the house, you all know Wednesday night was a very cold night. And the car was running all night, and so was the heater. And even with great hearing, you wouldn't hear the car running. So get that carbon monoxide detector or park outside. Well, my mother loved her girls, and she loved Bob. This is just so hard. And she would be the first to warn you to do what you need to do to stay away from danger. God bless all of you, and please keep us in your prayers. And I'd like to introduce you now to my sister, Sunday. Thank you.
Hello. Well, that's a very tough act to follow. As usual, Marcia. I just wanted to read some words that I found very comforting, and then I'll follow up with some few personal things. But this is paraphrased from a book by Henry Nouwen, Life of the Beloved. I still believe that our few years on this earth are part of a larger event. I think of it as a mission into time, a mission that is very exhilarating, because the one who sent me on the mission is waiting for me to come home and tell the story of what I've learned. When I listen to that small voice calling me the beloved, I know that there is nothing to fear and that dying is the greatest act of love. The act that leads me into the eternal embrace of my God, whose love is everlasting. Kind of makes me feel like there's a purpose for being here. And just to say what Marcia so wonderfully said, that Mom had a tough start. She was always young at heart. I think anybody here who's ever known her knows that. She was a role model for me, and there's so many different role models, but she was mine. And the strength that she had was amazing. And she was smart, she just knew the right way to do things. And I remember, as a kid, your parents are always telling you what to do, and you're like, ugh. And then you find yourself hearing those same words in your head later on when you're confronted with something, and you go, my mother said that's not a good idea. And you know what? It meant so much because she gave me a lot of good ideas and things not to do. And I've been very blessed, and I felt like I've lived my life appropriately. And thanks to her and Dad. And she went so peacefully. After such a wonderful weekend, we celebrated her birthday on Saturday, all the daughters. And we were, she just looked beautiful. That's that picture of her that you see on the front of the bulletin or the program. And she just got to go to the Air Force Ball with Bob the next day. And thank you, God, for letting her go with no fear and no pain and no suffering, and in a bright way. And my memory of her will always be of her that way. Thank you all for coming, and I want to introduce my sister Laura's husband, Kent Malinowski.
Wow, Pastor Marlene said it brilliantly. A celebration of life. Not only a life, but a life lived as a celebration, right? And if there's any doubt, just look to your left, look to your right, and look at this filled room. The people that knew her and knew how she lived. Every day was a party, right? And if you want to know where she was, just look in the middle of the crowd. And that was the center. She was there. Laura asked me to say a few words. She said, I can't get up and do this now, but you know, we've been married 2 decades, right? So I know the words that Laura uses to describe her mom. So I said I would get up and share a few of those. And I'm going to do it so accurately, I took notes from Laura. My mother had a great deal of trouble with me, but I think she enjoyed it. I could talk to my mom more than any of my friends could talk to their parents. Isn't that a blessing? When your mother asks, do you want a piece of advice? It's a mere formality. It doesn't matter if you answer yes or no, you're going to get it anyway. The natural state of motherhood is unselfishness. When you become a mother, you're no longer the center of your own universe. You relinquish that position to your children. To Laura's words, I'd like to add the words of the author Bishop Brent with a story that I found pretty appropriate. A ship sails and I stand watching till she fades on the horizon. And someone at my side says, she's gone. Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She's just as large now as when I last saw her. Her diminished size and total loss from my sight is in me, not in her. At just that moment when someone at my side says she's gone, there are others who are watching her coming over the horizon, and other voices taking up a glad shout, there she comes. It's kind of what dying is, a horizon, and just the limit of our sight. Lift us up, Lord, so that we may see farther. And that's for my second mom.
Thank you.
Who's that?
Yeah, that's
To me and to my family and my mom would love to see all of you here right now. I'm Babs, although my legal name is Barbara. I asked my mom, why did you name me Barbara? And she said, because she ran out of girl names. She called me Babs or Babsy or Babby K or Blabby Babby. I'm the baby, and I have done a very good job of fulfilling that role. My sisters will attest to that. I sat in my mom's lap in a big white rocking chair long after my feet hit the ground. My mom was affectionate and always wanted us around. My sister called every single day, and she would say, "Where have you been?" I thought I was terrible because I would only call every 3 or 4 or 5 days, and after I heard that, I feel better now. She was a mom's mom, a little critical, made you feel a little guilty sometimes. It's kind of hard to stand before this many people and share my thoughts and feelings. My mom would say, "Babs, just be yourself." She told me I was special, and I believed her. What a gift to give your child. She probably told it to all of you. I'd like to read a poll of the top 10 things people wish they would have done differently with their lives. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life other people expected of me. I wish I took the time to be with my children more when they were growing up. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings without the fear of being rejected or unpopular. I wish I would have stayed in touch with my family and friends. I wish I would have forgiven someone when I had the chance. I wish I would have told the people I love the most how important they are to me. I wish I would have had more confidence and tried more things. I wish I would have experienced more instead of settling for a life filled with routine, mediocrity, and apathy. I wish I would have pursued my talents and gifts. My mom got it. I didn't see her wish for these things. I saw her do them. Share your love, your joy, your happiness, your time, your food, your money, gladly with others. She did that. It was natural for her. Give out all with a glad, free heart and hand, and back will come countless blessings. I recently asked my mom, "What is a favorite time of your life?" I thought she might say when she was going around the country with my dad in their RV. They did that for years. They went all over the United States and Canada. I think they went into Mexico, and they had so much fun. They had all kinds of friends and played games and cooked and just had a ball. And then I remembered when we lived in Cuba, she seemed to have a lot of fun there too. It was a unique experience. I thought she might say then. And then I remember Merritt Island. My 2 friends from Merritt Island are here. And she was having fun then too. And but she said, now is my favorite time. She said she didn't worry so much anymore, that she loved her girls, and that they were all doing okay, and she got to see them. She loved her grandchildren. She was having a great time with Bob. And she loved so many of her friends, and she loved living here at IRCC. She enjoyed her home, singing, playing music, painting, dancing. She just took up bridge, and I heard we're supposed to get a refund back for her golf lessons. She loved looking out at a pond in her backyard. We found a set of binoculars next to her bed with a bird book. And she recently told me in great detail about a duck that hatched 4 ducklings, and she loved watching them grow every day, and they all made it. She was really enjoying life. I thought about some words to capture the essence of her. Years ago, I asked my son what word he might use to describe me. And I was apprehensive about what he might say. He said laughter. I could use that word for my mom. She laughed a lot. She was so fun. We played a game on Thanksgiving called Catchphrase at my sister's home, and she was in it to win it. Accused of cheating and everything. She was loving, she was loyal, she was gentle, she was good. She was sensitive. That we all inherited. I'm still getting over her telling me my eyebrows are too thin. She was emotional. She was connected and engaged and interested. She would say, "Come on over here and let's talk." Oh, that meant that she was going to know what was going on with you, even when you didn't want her to know. She was going to know. She was a mom's mom. She was committed. She was committed primarily to her family. And although I would not describe her as a bold person, the fortitude for her family never wavered. And she went forth with moral certainty, with great personal power. She backed it up with courage to take care of the people who were in her life, who needed help. She was an advocate. Caretaker was a big contender. My mom took care of a lot of people for a lot of years, and she really took care of them. I fell down pretty hard a few years ago. My mom came and picked me up and took care of me. I will never forget it. I finally decided the word that describes my mom's most admirable trait is resilience. One of the definitions for resilience means being able to soldier on after being knocked down by life and to come back stronger. My mom went through a lot of extraordinarily tough times, as you've heard. She lost her mom when she was 16. She lost her 2 little brothers. She lost her daughter to a crippling, agonizing disease, and we had to take her off life support. 4 months after that, she lost her husband of 56 years. But she came back stronger. She came back more faithful. She came back more peaceful. She came back brighter. She came back better. It was an amazing thing to watch. She's an inspiration to me. For that, it's a powerful lesson to learn. Get through your grief and your grievances and move on. And try to make each day the best you can. My mom lived a good, meaningful life. You heard about the last days of her life. My sisters and I went to pick up my mom for lunch on Valentine's Day. She's usually ready when we get to the house, and she wasn't ready this day. She walked into the kitchen, and it's the picture, the bigger picture you may have seen when you walked in, or you'll see it later. She walked into the room, and I swear she was glowing. She always looked good and was beautiful, but she was stunning. I literally said, wow. I think the angels were around her then. It was a special day. And then she went to the Air Force Ball with Bob. She accidentally called me with her iPhone because my mom was pretty current. She had an iPhone and she had an iPad, and she tried to use them. But she accidentally called me with her phone, and I heard her conversation with somebody who's probably here. My girls took me to lunch for my birthday. We went to the Chart House. Oh, that must have been so nice. My mom was in a little bit of heaven right then. Nothing could have made her happier. So I'm very grateful for the way she lived, especially the last few years of her life. Having so much fun with Bob, and the last few days were spectacular. But I'm also sad because I miss her. I don't get to look into her eyes. I don't get to hear her laugh. I had questions to ask her. My former husband, Dick, told me that I have a lot of my mom in me. I'm very happy to know that. And I hope it's true, because I hope to carry on her legacy of resilience and a love of life and a loving and caring for the people that she's around, especially my sisters, to my stepdaughter Jenna, and to my son Colt. Thank you. And I'd like to ask Bob, my mom's long-term companion, to talk about my mom. Thank you.
Barbara and I were together for just a little over 4 years. A few weeks ago, we celebrated our 86th birthday celebration. We were born just a week apart. We reminisced about our years together, and we discussed the future years to come. We even touched upon what we were going to do to celebrate our 90th birthday in 2019. Barbara was a beautiful, gregarious, caring, giving person who dearly loved her friends and her life. For all of us who knew her and loved her, we will miss her terribly. Recently, I found a text entitled Afterglow by an unknown author. The sentiments expressed in these texts are those, I believe, that Barbara would have expressed to us were she able to speak to us today. I would like to quote Afterglow. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles. When life is done, I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times and bright and sunny days, and of happy memories that I leave when life is done. Thank you.
as we sing On the Wings of Eagles, please welcome the family and join over to Colony Hall for refreshments.